All right, but we're going to get started. And again, I'm excited today because we're talking about a topic that's near and dear to a lot of you, and that's how to really launch that book and get a ton of reviews as you're starting out. And with me today is someone who just crushed her most recent book launch, did some amazing things to the point where I was even like, I told her, I don't even think that you can hit this mark. And she said, watch me. And not only did that, but she blew that mark out of the water. And that's Kate McKay. So Kate, welcome. Thank you for coming on today.
Hello, everyone. I can't wait to add some value to all of you tuning in today. So thanks so much, Sean, for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you guys that know Kate in the group, there's a lot of us that have had that pleasure to interact with her, not only in this group, but in person recently. If you're part of the Author Advantage Accelerator group, we had a great meetup recently in Los Angeles. But for those of you that don't know Kate, let me just tell you a little bit about her. So Kate McKay is known as the Master Motivator. Right? She's a multi-million-dollar business owner, international best-selling author, TV personality, transformational speaker, strategist, business consultant, and spiritual lifestyle coach. She launched her new book, Claim Your Inner Badass, in November. And really, it was best-selling in multiple categories, but honestly, it was one of the best launches I've seen in a long time, just the way she handled it and the way she was able to motivate people to get them to the book. So that is really, really one of the things we're going to feature on here. But she's the author of Living Sexy Fit at Any Age, which she's relaunching in March. So if you guys want to be part of another launch and really see how to do it well, you can be part of that. And we'll talk about that as we go through here. She's been featured in Family Circle magazine, a contributor to Entrepreneur magazine, New York Smash, Golf magazine. She's also a monthly contributor to the Eagle Tribune in New England on health, wellness, and a life of prosperity and positivity. She was featured on the internationally distributed PBS program Creative Living with Cheryl Borden. She's also been a contributor to numerous spotlights and radio stations and podcasts. She loves her work and is very clear on her purpose. And she is a ton of fun, not only to work with, but just to see how well she motivates people to bring them to where they need to be in life, but also to help rally around the cause. As we're talking here, if you guys want to learn more about Kate, you can go to kate-mckay.com. I'm going to put that in the chat right now so you guys can find out more. But anything I missed there, Kay? You got so much going on. Anything I missed in that?
That's because I'm old, Sean. I've been around the block a little bit. But yeah, no, I've had a lot of fun. You know, listen, any listeners, it's like the big piece about writing and writing your story is understanding that your journey matters. And that's really what I want to stress to all of you, that it's scary writing a book. It's so personal. It makes entrepreneurship seem like a piece of cake. So I just honor you that you're willing to celebrate yourself and step into that. And I'm here to support you in any way I can.
Awesome. So again, as you guys are watching this, do me a favor and just hit the like button so that we can get more people aware of this. And again, the replay will be available in the unit section, just like all of our Facebook Lives. And of course, if you guys are watching this on the replay and you have questions that pop up, you want to ask, you can tag me. I'm always in the group. Kate's in the group too. So you can tag us and just ask us the questions if you're watching this on the replay. But we really want to get into kind of what the main topic was for all of you guys that are launching books, whether it's your first book or whether it's your 10th book. You know that the one biggest thing that drives you crazy is getting those early reviews and getting those reviews up. Even if you have a launch team, it's how to motivate those people. I remember having a conversation with someone who is a multi-million-dollar company owner as well, but also is a New York Times bestselling author. And she said, yes, I'm happy if I get 20 reviews off of a list of thousands of people, right? And so Kate, with her book recently, she launched it. And within the first, about week, I think, how many reviews did you have posted?
I don't know. I mean, you said good luck getting 50. And I'm like, dang, I'm going to get 50. So I know that was my initial goal, really was Sean's super positive and awesome. And you guys who know Sean know he's like a total champion for us. And he was like, all right, Katie, like whatever.
I will admit, I did challenge her. I said, I'm happy with 20. I'm really excited with 30. She said, I'm going to get 50. And I said, all right, I don't want you to set yourself up and be mad when you don't get that. But she blew away 50. She had 80 at one, I think, in the first week, and she had 100 really soon after that, I think. So, so let's just kind of get right into it. What are some of the things that you use, or those strategies that you use to really start that process, keep people motivated, and actually get those reviews up?
So I think the most important thing is I really touched on it initially, which is really what is your why? Why are you writing the book? And I think that that's what drove me, in those insecure moments and you're dragging through that whole writing process. And by the time your book hits you hit publish, you're exhausted. Let's just get real. It's like birthing a baby and then you just want to go take a nap. But that's the time where you need to find your deepest why you want to share this information and why your words matter. And people are waiting for you. That's the part that you need to understand. You have a unique message and people are waiting for you to share it. Honestly, that's totally true. And I think that was a big part of my success, was believing in myself enough to know that I've made a difference enough in the world and I'm here to create a bigger impact. And so are you. I mean, I'm a straggly ADHD, one of 9 kids. I was a complete misfit growing up. And a lot of my success has been fueled by many, many failures. And so I honor your process again and understand where you come from in the self-doubt. I really, really do. I truly do.
Yeah, I will agree. Like every time I go to launch my book, I'm to the point now where I've dealt with this for the past so many months. I'm sure that I'm sick of it. And I almost have that feeling like I don't want to bug others with this because I'm sure they're sick of it as well. And that's really just not the case.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. And I think that if you know your why and then you commit to the adjectives about how you want people to experience you, and I think that's really just an important lesson. I certainly talked about that with my daughter when she went off to college. So anytime you're launching into the world in any new experience, you're responsible for how people interpret you. They may not interpret you that way, but I know I want to be inspirational. I know I want people to trust me. I know that I want to inspire people to live their greatest life. That's innately who I am. That has nothing to do with my ego. That is who I am as a human being. It's how I came out of the box. So you all who are on this call, you each have a unique passion. There's a unique way that you want to be interpreted and seen, and you need to commit to that. And stay true to that all the way through the process. Particularly when you start saying, "Hey, can you write me a review?" and you start reaching out to people, which is the most important thing.
Yeah. So let's go back for those of you guys that think that, okay, Kate may be doing this for years and years in this program and get through this. She's just recently coming through SPS and just starting. So again, whether you're just starting with SPS or you've done this for a while, there's definitely been a lot of takeaways. So just, can you go over when you started writing this book, when you joined, and kind of the process leading up to the launch?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, I'm the classic ADHDer, and I basically can write a book on Post-it notes. I mean, that's how haphazard I am. My process is not pretty, but I'm an achiever and I like to get it done. So really the process began that I randomly listened to some YouTube video on self-publishing school, and I literally hit buy and got on the phone and literally and pushed the buy button. And the reason why is I need a tribe of people that are going to support me, and that there is nothing that can replace the self-publishing school experience as far as the community and the services. My coach, poor Scott Allen, I mean, I must have driven him absolutely insane. But I leaned on my community. I leaned on people that I met at self-publishing school and subsequently Author Advantage. And I leaned on those people to develop that. Now, how I came up with the book is I do, as I said, write a column for my local paper. And I just have to share something that happened to me in October of 2017. I lost my son, Will. My son took his own life. So I went through a really profound grief period. And because I'm a public figure, people were watching me. They wanted to see how I handled this really, no words kind of loss. And I knew I had to stand up and be a bigger person. I wasn't in the position to shrivel up and roll away as I wanted to many, many days. So really what drove me to write Claim Your Inner Badass in such a bold title was because this is the way that I was going to honor my kid, right? This is the way I was going to honor the process. And if I can find a way to inspire others to live through, some really dark stuff, that's my goal. My goal is to inspire people to live their truth. And that was just a part of my big why. And also having a tribe of people that support me. And that was what self-publishing school certainly was all about for me.
Well, and those of you who may not know that I did know that information. Of course, I'm sorry for your loss and just all that you've gone through with this. But those of you guys that know Kate know that she is just a bundle of energy and really has transformed a lot of that into positivity. And I think that is one of the reasons her book launch was so successful, was being that positive frame of mind going into it. And you already talked about it, claiming what you want people to see.
Yes.
So let's kind of get into going towards the launch and what you did to prepare for it in order to have that successful first week or first 2 weeks.
So I did exactly as I was told, which isn't always easy for me, but I trusted the process, right? So that's a big part of it. You guys trust your process. It may seem like it's overwhelming, but trust the process that you have access to through self-publishing school and your coach. You trust your process. What I did was I just felt that it was important for me that I had reach out, and this is one of the most important steps I actually want to go right to, is sit down and make a list of every period of your life from the first moment that you remember all the way through who you are, and write down a list of all the communities of experiences that you've had: elementary school, camp, every single thing, every activity. I'm a gym rat. So, okay, who do I know in the gym? What gyms do I know? What in my spiritual community, best friends from years ago that I haven't reached out to. Make a list. You're going to be shocked at how many people you know. You know hundreds of people, and you're just thinking of a small a dose of people. And I think that was the number one thing. And then creating a system of reaching out to them, being enthusiastic in my invitation for them to play with me, and then making that bold request more than once, more than twice, 3 times at least. That's the deal. You got to keep going at it. They may not message you right away. They may not give you that review right away, but just say, hey. Like, I think 2 or 3 times I got someone back that was like, stop messaging me. And I was like, oops, right? But that was pretty much it. And it wasn't like I was overdoing it. It's just that they had things going on in their own personal life that had nothing to do with me. I didn't take it personal. I was like, oh, I'm deeply sorry. And then I circled back to them and, how you doing? Are you okay? How's your mom? That kind of thing. So it's building connection with people that already love you and that are already fans.
Yeah, and we talk about this all the time with people. A lot of people are very worried to send more than one message. And there's a couple things that I always say is, number one, if you're not excited enough to tell them about it more than once, then how are they going to be excited enough to commit to reading or leaving a review? If it's just something like, hey, I got this thing coming, you could check it out if you want. It's, if you have time. It doesn't promote the fact like, oh, this is important. It's not important to them. It's got to be important to you first. And I think that's one of the things Kate did well, was just being excited when she's talked to people. And then the other thing is messaging people more than once. You talked about that. We kind of joke, if you have not got at least one person saying, hey, I'm good, then you probably haven't tried to push that limit, and you really haven't really worked hard enough to be excited about that. And a lot of times that can just be, if someone says it, hey, no problem, I'm just super excited about this, it means a lot to me. But then, like you said, kind of circling back to them, that's great advice. So for those of you out there listening, just know that you can be excited about your book and reach out to people multiple times. And were there specific ways that you kind of changed the message as you were going through to be able to reach out to them?
So I did one really powerful text that I did. I use Messenger a lot, and I texted a ton, right? So I had my email sequence, which was just part of the launch team that many of you will be able to have access to if you're part of self-publishing school. There's templates, right? So use those templates, sprinkle in your own language. Not everyone is crazy, wild ADHD as me, but use your personal, beautiful messaging. It could be super gentle, but be you, right? Just be you. I refigured and rejiggered mine. So certainly do it that has your personality, stamped on it. And message. I copied and pasted so many times. I swear to God, I had calluses, right? So, and I have to say the most important thing, this is it right here. Say thank you. I said thank you thousands of times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like literally I could tear up right now because I was just so thankful. And if we come from a place of gratitude that every yes is a blessing, I mean, come on, nothing better than that, honestly.
Right. And then honestly, when you say thank you for downloading it and reading it, they're much more likely to say, get the, the next step, which is to leave a review or to
Heck
share
yeah.
it because you engaged with them and you showed
Yes,
them that it meant something to you.
exactly. It's beautiful. I love that synopsis. That's so true, Sean.
So a couple of things you said I want to key on. One is that you used both text and messenger,
Hmm.
and besides just the email, because a lot of people think that email is the one place where you can reach out. And
Hmm.
I'm with you. I reach out as many personal ways as I can, and
Yes.
Messenger has been one of the absolute best tools for me because you can use it to have quick and personal conversations with people, so it doesn't feel like it's a blast. Because once they sign up to your email list and they've committed, then that's a great time to send maybe emails and things to them because they're committed. But when you're first getting their attention, a lot of times, if they think it was sent out to a million people, they're going to think, oh, other people are going to take care of this. I don't need to step
Exactly.
up. I'm
Yep.
busy. There's someone who's not busy. But
Hmm.
if you reach out and say, hey, Kate, I know you launched your book last year. It was such a great inspiration for me. I'm launching mine this year. It really mean a lot to me if you could do this. I know you're busy. I'll make it as easy as possible for you. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, that's a very personal message. She is much more likely to respond. So I love that you use
Flattering.
those texts and
Right,
messengers. Yeah.
it's flattering. People want to feel like they're special, and we want them to feel special, right? I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Isn't the human connection everything, right? To me it certainly is. So why wouldn't I want to make people feel special and honor them as much as I'm expecting them to honor me and my process, right? I just think it's a beautiful way, you know.
Yeah. So just as from curiosity, like, do you have a ballpark figure? How many people do you think you actually reached out to in this process?
Well, I think that, like, honestly, I think the percentage of people that I texted 3 times wrote me a review, you know, and I think that it was just like, if I was persistent enough and I knew they would be a yes, then it was just a non-negotiable that I would write it. So they say, hey, Kate, I wrote the review. Check it out. You know, is it okay? You know, and that's another thing too. You got to remember, people are nervous that they're not going to write the right thing. You know, so you have to say, you can just say, you know, good book, da da da. Like, just, you know me, so just write something. Or even if you don't know me, you've read my articles, or you get a sense about me, or whatever. And you know, they get very nervous about writing reviews. People, they really, really do. So you have to make it easy for them and be like, whatever you write is fine. You know, if there's a particular sentence that you really liked, or I think it's important also to add a little instruction.
So one of the things you talked about, and I know you've written about this, is to provide an abbreviated version. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely provided an abbreviated version that was available to people on my launch team, my Facebook launch team. And I just think it's really important that you do that so that it's easy for them to read, and it's like the juicy tidbits of the book. They get enough of an essence of. And then I would encourage them obviously to buy a copy too. I did the 99 special thing, and so I sold a fair amount, you know, that first week. And so, yeah, definitely do that. And I would say, do a beautiful copy of a rough draft. Like, I don't like the idea of just making it not look pretty, because I like it pretty, right? So make sure it's attractive, that it's not like kind of thrown together. You want it to look polished and professional. That's my theory. I know not everyone shares that, but I really felt like a polished copy, abbreviated copy was important for my launch team and also for the press. If I'm sending out, you know, abbreviated copies for interviews, I wanted that to look really professional as well.
Yeah, and you want to make it easy for them too, because although you've spent months on this, and this may be something that's very important to you, they want to help you out. But most people are just as busy as you are. Like, they are super busy with their life,
Yeah.
and if you wait for them to read the entire book or to, do everything that they're supposed to do on their checklist, it may take them a while to get back. So if you're
Right.
looking for some kind of quick response, the
Mhm.
more direction, instruction, and the way, and making it easy for them is it's going to help them so they can actually help you easier.
Yes, I agree 100%.
All right, so I know we have a couple questions. I'm going to go through a couple more things with Kate, and we'll jump into questions. We have questions from Aaron and a couple of people. But one of the things that you talk about, you have these different areas of your life, you're in different communities. You talk about keeping them all in the know. So is there a way that you used outside of Messenger to keep everybody kind of knowing what's going on?
Well, I used a Facebook Live and on launch week, particularly leading up to my launch and after, just to encourage people to, it's almost there, it's almost there. And that was fun. Like, I was riding my bike. I did it, I don't know why, but I was in Napa. So like that, I'm like, hey, it's Kate, Facebook Live, I'm on my bike, it's a beautiful day, you know? So I was kind of a little strange, but it would just work for me. And people like that a lot. I think the human touch is really, important to have people see you and hear you. And, I know that I'm not even necessarily super comfortable on camera, and I'm a theater major, right? But it's scary to be vulnerable and to be exposed, because that is the process. So being an entrepreneur, I don't know how many people on this call are entrepreneurs, but if you are an author, this is the highest level of entrepreneurship, because it is so personal. It is so personal. I completely understand that. And it's going to bring up all kinds of emotions for you as you go through that process. But again, it goes back to that why, right, Sean, which is, why are you doing it? Why does this matter to you? And if you stay clear on that in those days, you're like, I don't feel like it, right? We all have those days, right? We moments and days, and you just have to keep leaning into that, and then bring yourself in with an accountability partner, making sure you can share the struggles and the wins with people that love and are going to hold you to the fire too. Not just that are just think, oh, you're great, but who are going to be like, you can do better than that, and I think we got to hire coaches. That's a hiring position. Oftentimes the people that love us, they have no idea what we're doing. They're like, oh my gosh, you're writing a book. It's so inspirational. And the people are dreaming of what you're doing. There are thousands of people around you that are just dreaming. So understand that you are an inspiration to others far more than you can ever know.
Yeah, and I love the fact that people around you don't necessarily know what you're doing, so you have to kind of let them know. So in my household now, my daughter, who has written her book, and she kind of gets it a little bit, but even my wife, my colleagues, they go, oh, that's great. Good for you. And that's about all they know, right? And so there's no reason for them to know that, man, this launch is important to me. I need help this week, right? I need to get it up this week. They're used to people publishing books, or at least in my world, and it takes a couple of years, and there's time to build up, and they're working with a publisher, and they know this is very, very different. But they don't know that unless you tell them, unless you inform them of that.
Right.
And I love how you said accountability partner, having that on there, having someone to help coach you and guide you through this. Obviously, those people watching this in self-publishing school, you have your coaches that you can work with, but we also have a great community here. So I'm going to ask you kind of two things. Number one, I know you set goals, and so what were your goals for this book launch, and kind of why did you have those goals? Why were they important to you?
Well, I think that I wanted this to be sort of like, the old expression, like my cotillion. Okay, it was like a coming out party for me, and particularly through what I've been through. And so it was important for me to be prepared to be seen in the world and be able to let people know that we can survive really inexplicable losses. And so for me, that was the most important thing. It was a rebirth for me. And I feel very grateful and with deep, deep gratitude that I think that really, that was the core was how I felt, that this was a big stepping out for me, considering everything, right? So that was a big thing. I also was just like, I want to bang out those reviews, and my reviews were so personal, which, I could barely read them. I was so emotional. So, that's, I think, an important part is like when people are writing reviews, it's a big deal that they're writing reviews. They believe in you, and it's not just some lighthearted thing. And so for you to ask for that is basically saying, like, honor me and honor what my story is. And it takes courage. So that's why, my subtitle of my book, Claim Your Inner Badass, How to Live a Life of Courage and Claim Your Personal Power. I'm just looking for a copy of my book. It's somewhere. That's why that title is so key. And I'm here cheering you on, all listeners and viewers right now, that, you're capable of it.
So one of the things we talked about is the goal of, and I'll put a link to your book. I'm going to grab that right now.
Thank you.
But the goal was, you had a goal of reviews. And so
Yes.
Why is getting those reviews early and having that goal, what did those do for you, or how did it help you?
Well, because it was like, especially when you said, oh, well, I don't know, usually people only get 20. I'm like, damn, well, I'm an athlete by nature, right? So I'm like, I'm going to get 50, and then once I get 50, I'm like, I'm going to get 60, So it was just, I knew that the reviews were important, because listen, I buy in reviews. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on Amazon, I'm going 4 stars and above when I purchase something. And I read reviews. And I think that we're in a culture where we're buying by referral, or we're buying by what other people are saying about what we purchase. It's just the way the life is. And that's why I think we're going more, why self-publishing is so effective, right? So we can be our own advocate. I went traditional the first time and it wasn't a success. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't a pretty process. And so I think that's the important thing. I knew that getting the reviews was an important part of the process of the success of my book and being able to make a splash.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reviews, just like you said, that's what people look to. So it doesn't count on your Amazon bestseller rank that you have more reviews, but it can absolutely make it so that people see this as something that has social proof. And then I love for you, the reason I brought up goals is because if you have that goal of 50 reviews, then you put that down and you write it down and you talk to people about it and you tell your launch team about it and you tell your accountability partner, all of a sudden there's something for everybody else to help shoot for as well. So did you use that in talking with your launch team, kind of like your goal for reviews?
Fantastic idea. I'm going to do that when I'm launching Living Sexy Fit at Any Age, for damn sure. But no, and I think that's the challenge of being an entrepreneur is I'm like, all right, write me a review, but I never thought of that I could bring my whole tribe in. But that's actually because I want to boost my sales for my book now. I'm in it, right before I launch my new book, I want to boost Claim You're in a Badass. My goal is to reach out to all the people that purchased the book and also people in my launch team and in my social media circle. So, hey, if you like my book, would you do me a favor? Would you be so kind as to refer, get a copy for somebody and refer someone? So that's the way that I'm looking to, and I definitely have some goals around that for sure. I need to get 200 reviews, Sean.
Yes, I have faith that you will do that.
Days.
So, let's talk about just some general things. So, Hank said, how do people submit reviews? This is on Amazon. And so to be specific, we are talking right now really about Amazon reviews, because that's the marketplace that you went to first. And that's the marketplace that's really driving things, correct?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. So Amazon, and how do people submit the reviews after they purchase their book? Just like anything they purchase on Amazon, they can leave a customer review. The truth is, though, that people often don't leave a review unless they don't like something. Like this is just for products anywhere.
Yes.
Like people very rarely leave a positive review. They very often leave a negative review. And so in order to get some of those positive reviews, you have to let them know that, one, they can, and two, it's important for you. Because oftentimes people just reading the book, that was a great book. That's what it was supposed to be. I bought a great book, but they don't know, oh, this is something that I can help other people make a decision on whether this is a good book. So even in your book or in your communications, everything, let them know that it is important and how they can leave the review. So either providing them a link or providing them instructions on how to do so.
And making sure you put it in the book. Like I have a whole page. Hey, how can you help? And I just say, hey, listen, this is what you do. I need you to, you like the book, you got all the way to the end, write me a review. And that's another thing, putting in those links, both in the ebook and in your paperback copy. Provide that, because they need to be nurtured. It's like you have a little herd of sheep, and they're your viewers and they're your readers and they're the people that really want to support you. Just give them guidance. It just, it's like you're giving them just like, the little bumpers when you're playing bowling, when you're bowling.
And then let's see. So Aaron asked, do you recommend posting to social media to get as many people to your launch team, or when it's published to buy the book?
Oh, I did it both, but tons before, leading up to it. So you're building up momentum and excitement. And so you have to picture those days before are leading up. And that's all part of your email strategy, which is also part of Self-Publishing School, also has that available. And again, those are the things I talk about, make them personal. But, it's like day 1, day 3, day 7, and then backing it up and building the momentum from there. Super important. And I tailored those also to my social media.
Yeah, and just know that people are busy. So if you just wait till the day it launches to tell people about it, they may be off doing something with their family. Like there may be other things that come up. So I often talk about this as a restaurant opening. If you were to open a restaurant next month, you would start telling people about it now so that people can get ready, so they can plan dinners there, so they can know that it's coming, so that they can tell friends that, hey, this restaurant is coming. It's going to be great. You would want to do that same thing with your book. But then once it's open, you would again do another posting. The restaurant's open. Come check our restaurant. So the same thing with your book. So you want to build up momentum. And then when the book is launched, do it again. So you capture people ahead of time. You capture people the week before. You capture, you never know when people are going to be receptive to your message. You never know when they're going to be online and available to even hear your message. So you want to have multiple touch points where you can reach out to them.
Yes, absolutely. And then creating from all that content, the material, because you are going to get requests. Like I got 2 speaking gigs right off the bat from the book based on my enthusiasm, honestly. So, and, a podcast interview and blah, blah, blah. So those things happen based on your enthusiasm. So be prepared for that to happen as well. And that includes making sure you have your one sheet and also your media one sheet. And anyone has any questions in this call, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to share anything that I have, because that's the way we grow. We lift and we grow each other together. We're all in it together, right? So I'm here to support you in any way I can, for sure.
And just knowing Kate, like everything she does is very professional. So it's always good to look at what, she's making. Even when we were sitting in Los Angeles together, she's like, I'm going to write an email right now, send it to my list. And it's like, it was a beautiful looking email that she was able to send out to her list, because that's important for her brand, but also for her. But it doesn't mean it doesn't have to be personal, right? So a lot of it can still be, it doesn't have to be professional to the point that it's sterile. Right? You want it to be professional looking, but you want to have a personal connection when you're doing your launch team emails, when you're messaging people. All those things are very important as well.
Definitely.
Anita says, do you have a separate Facebook group for your launch team, or the same launch team and readers and fans?
So I have a separate. So Claim Your Inner Badass Launch Team is a Facebook page that I created prior to my launch and invited people to go in there, and that's where they could get their free abbreviated version once they signed up.
Yeah, and just to clarify, was that a Facebook group or a Facebook page?
Facebook, I think it's a page.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have my fan page, and then I also have a fan page, and then my regular page. So, awesome. And I have a fitness page too. So I have a few because I've had a varied life.
And then we had a couple questions about your abbreviated copy. What does that look like? Kind of how long? I think Hank said he's got one that's about like a 12-page outline. Is that considered an abbreviated book, or what would you consider for that abbreviated?
That would be more, maybe I would include with the press release, but I'll be happy to share it. You can either, go on Claim Your Inner Badass, or I can also share a link to that too, which is what I used. It's very similar to my book. Maybe I think it was more like 40 pages. It was a little bit longer. My book wasn't super long. I mean, you guys can see this is the thickness of it. This is the size of book I like to read, which is like easy to read. So it was like probably half of my book, maybe a little bit less.
And then Layla says, congratulations, Kate. She said, in your texts and messages, did you supply the Amazon link? I learned SBS that it may kick out a verified review.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought that we shouldn't, because I thought that was more of a problem, because they would think that they weren't real, genuine reviews. So I didn't. I just said the name of the book and go to Amazon, but I wanted it to be more like they did an organic search. And I'm not sure if that's correct, Sean. What's your thought on that?
So to be honest, my thought is if you're sharing a clean link, which is just, we talk about how to do that in the course, which is basically amazon.com/DP for digital project / and your Amazon number. If you're sharing a clean link, I do not think that it gets tracked. However, Facebook always does a little bit of tracking codes on theirs. Yes. So, they put a little tracking code on there. My thing is that authors everywhere share their book to social media, and it gets business for Amazon. So I personally am not worried about that. I think that may be a little bit of a conspiracy theory. However, if the people are organically searching it and then purchasing, that looks great to Amazon. So it provides one more step that people have to do. Some people they just like to click. They're not going to search. So it does provide one more step. So there might be just a little bit of a barrier to entry. However, if Amazon sees that people search either for a topic or for your name and end up purchasing, that does look very good to them. So I don't know that I'm against providing the link, but I might try it both ways. Like, here, do this first. And then if you haven't gotten it yet, like, here's the link.
Well, that would be like on my second and third, I would provide them the actual link. The first one I didn't. But when I got, like, say, for example, when the book got best-selling status, I screenshot the picture. Like, I screenshotted Amazon a lot to share with that. So they're like, oh my gosh, there it is. So I added visual cue, but I didn't always do the link. But if people are like, yeah, and I knew that they're like really super busy and they weren't going to do it, I would provide them that. But not to, broad based, no, I did not actually.
And then, so just to go on a couple points you said earlier about thanking people.
Mhm.
The power of thanking people is an amazing thing, even if they haven't done something yet.
Yes.
Right. And so I do this a lot with book launches, and I recommend this in the course. If you guys have seen some of these things, is I thank my team for, and I'll send it to everyone, and I will say, like, really express my deepest gratitude, how thankful I am for everyone that has left a review so far. It means so much to me. This is where the book is. This is how we're celebrating. You have all impacted my life so much. And if you have not, please go ahead and do so. This is how much it means to me. And you'd be surprised at how many people go, oh, this really does mean something to him. If I haven't, that's going to really so just thanking someone, thanking the group or thanking someone ahead of time can make a really big difference on calling them to action.
Yes, I totally agree.
All right, so let's see if you guys have other questions. I'm going to scroll up, make sure I didn't miss any questions from the group. A couple people are asking to either for your link to your Facebook page or the link to your abbreviated book. So if you're comfortable sharing any of that, you can share it now, or just as you go back and look through this thread, you can put it in there. Or if you send it to me, I can always share it as well. Let's see. And then Judith says, should you ask for an honest review, or should you specify that would you like a nice or kind review?
Oh yeah, no, I never asked them never asked to, they know me enough, or they know the book enough, and they're someone I reached out to. I want an honest review. So it's like, I'm not going to be like, write this, write that. I'm like, you know me, or you have a feel for me, just write that. Because like, that goes back to like giving people guidance on how the review should go, really is just saying, just give an organic response. It can be one sentence. I had a question, Sean, for you actually. I had a lot of people that were writing review. I would say there was probably at least 5 to 10 that wrote reviews that were that never actually made it, because I don't know why, right? So I think that was another reason why I didn't provide the direct link, because I think Amazon was like, why is this woman having so many reviews? And so there was some question. And so I often think, was it the people that I sent the actual link to? I don't know. But I know that there was a few people that never really got their reviews on there because some little loophole that happened in Amazon. I know this is common. It's happened.
Yeah.
Before.
So it's hard to say why. And I always tell people, like, I just assume that 25% of the reviews that are left for me are going to be taken down for some reason.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And so
That's
you just
important.
go like, hey, I'm just going to assume this. Therefore, if I want 100 reviews, I better shoot for, 130. Or if I wanted 20 reviews, I might shoot for 30 initially, because I'm assuming that because of whatever reason, whether they didn't like the language, whether there was a link that they didn't like, whether this person, has left, like whatever the reason, they're going to take down 25%. And I consider that the cost of doing business. Right.
Good.
And
really
so
important to know, people, listeners, that's really important, because you get really discouraged when you have a friend message you saying, I wrote you, but it won't go in. And you have to be like, because you're really super frustrated yourself because you want every review, but you still have to be like, oh my gosh, well, thank you so much. I'm not sure. Sometimes Amazon's a little funky. So you still have to be positive when that happens. And I really appreciate you, Sean, bringing that up. Actually, I'm glad we talked about this topic. Don't get discouraged, because, you are dealing with a huge conglomerate company, and that does happen. Some reviews don't go through, and you just have to stay upbeat and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but thank you. Right.
And I'll say a couple of other things on that. There are other ways that you can still use that review or help going forward. So number one, you can say, oh, like this happens sometimes. Sometimes if you just contact Amazon, let them know, yeah, I did read this book. This is a real review. They'll go ahead and put it through. As the author, you do not want to contact Amazon and say, there was a review from my friend that didn't get up, because that's not really an appropriate thing. So what you can do is you can say, hey, if you really want to, you can contact Amazon. Sometimes a few days later, they'll go, oh, yep. So I've had that multiple times where I leave reviews and they say, oh, it's being held. And I'll just say, yep, I just read this book. Please go ahead and put the review up, and they will. So one, you can encourage them to do it. Two, you can say, man, that's awesome. Can you just copy that review here for me? And that way I can see it, and you can use it on social media then. If they're cool with that, you can use it as an editorial review in your book description. Or you can say, you know what, there's one more thing that you can do. You can just put this review on your own social media and just help. So there's lots of other ways that they can still be part of your launch team and still feel connected, because it gets them discouraged. Like, oh, I really wanted to help. And you go, you are helping. In fact, this is a way where you can use, you've already written it. All we have to do is copy and paste it here and then share it in social media. And that helps me a ton. And then you can always share their reviews. And, there's lots of things that you can do still with that, even if it's not going up on Amazon. So
isn't Sean
don't
awesome?
get discouraged.
Sean, you're the best. Literally, you are the best. Everything you are an incredible wealth of information. It's so
I appreciate that. All right, so let's see what other gems can we give today. We got about 5 more minutes, so we're gonna go through last minute questions, and then be respectful of you guys' time and Kate's time, and of course you guys can watch the replay on this. But let me just check in. I think someone messaged me a question. All right, I'm going to go to the thread. And if you guys have specific questions, this is a good time. Layla says, can you see who downloads the book and thank them? So you are not going to, Amazon will never provide you the emails or a list of who purchased, right? So you'll never be able to. However, you can just ask them, hey, were you able to get the book? Did you leave it? A lot of times you can see the reviews. And who posted the review. Sometimes it's different names. Like, Kate may have a different name. It may be, fitness or something like that. And it's not her name associated with it. So you don't always know. Best way is just to ask. And it's like, hey, were you able to leave a review yet? If so, I'll quit bugging you. But this is super important to me. And I love that, so I just ask people. But you're not going to get a list from Amazon. I have seen some people do launch teams where it's very organized, and they'll say, hey, check off this, check mark, or send me like a little message that says review done when you're done. And like, you can be more organized with that. But a lot of times it's just asking. But Amazon will never provide you a list of things that of any kind of purchaser information. They keep all that information.
And I do have, personally, I have my list for people who are on my launch team. So you can track who your supporters are, and you can reach out and create separate, emails to your launch team or different groups and say, hey, did you write a review? So there are ways that you can use your list internally for people who signed up for your group. So that way you can kind of, there is some personal work there that you can work on.
All right. And Kimberly from AAA here says, what do you think about offering a drawing for those who join your launch team? For example, a drawing for a spa gift certificate for one member as a thank you for their time.
Yeah. Hey, why not? People love gifts.
Yeah. I just think there's a very clear distinction you have to make on this one. Is Amazon, you cannot incentivize reviews. So if you give them if they enter into a drawing for being on your launch team, that's one thing. That's legal. Like, you can say, because that could include reading the book and giving you feedback. It could post it on social media. It's just for being on your launch team. That's, but you can't do it for those that specifically leave a review, because that's incentivizing the review. So just be careful on how you're wording that. But absolutely, if you're for being part of the launch team, you can. If you're incentivizing reviews, chances are Amazon may not know about it, but it is specifically against their rules. So I wouldn't go there. And besides, the point is that they're helping in some way, whether they leave a review or they post on social media, they're being part of this. So I would incentivize it as for joining the launch team.
And you are ethically, that is very well spelled out. Actually, I went to law school, so it is very well spelled out in your agreement that you're not going to incentivize through when you put your book on KDP. So I think that their rules and regulations are pretty clear and what you agree to put your book on Amazon. And I think that's important to be respectful of that.
Yeah. And the other thing that sometimes goes through is people will ask to post reviews ahead of time, and they'll say, only kind reviews, that kind of thing. The other thing that's against the rules is incentivizing specific, only positive reviews. So there are programs out there where people put a review, and if it's positive, it says, oh, go copy this and put it to Amazon. If it's not, they say, oh, where can I? And those kind of things are against the rules. So you just want an honest review. And the truth is, if you're asking people to join your launch team, and it's very rare they're going to leave a negative review if there's someone that wants to help you out.
Right, exactly. Very good point.
And the other thing is, it doesn't always have to be 5-star reviews. I want to think, like, 5-star reviews are really great, But a well-worded 4-star review or a well-worded 3-star review can sometimes help move more books than any other review out there, because it shows, yes, this person wasn't just giving blanket 5 stars. They were a little bit critical. However, they still liked it. And if they, I have one 3-star review on one of my books that says, the information in this book is great. However, they need a copy editor because there's grammar errors.
Oh, whoops.
Right? But that probably sells more books for me than any other review, because those people that are out there that don't care about grammar, that just really want the information, go, well, cool, this person obviously was critical, but yet still said the information was great. So you tell your team to put an honest review, and you don't always have to worry that all your reviews are 5 stars. So if you get something that's a 3-star from someone on your team, they actually may be helping you out. And we actually have a lot of people that leave 4 stars for people almost on purpose, because it does really show that you have a mix of people.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Let's see. Becky says, I would like to put a Facebook post to be on my launch team in Facebook groups that are my focus readers. How do you suggest I do that? Especially since some groups don't want you to self-promote. Any ideas on that?
What say you, Sean?
So I will tell you that, number one, the best way to do it is to share something that helps the group members. So I would read the rules of the group. So a lot of groups don't want to self-promote, but they want to help their members, right? So if it's a group so we got Layla on here, if it's a group of moms who want to help, their children, she talks about how to avoid cavities in their first year. And she gives some great tips. And she says, if you want to know more, I'm putting together a new book, and you guys can be part of that if you'd like. Right? That's a way to really share and be part of the group, be along the lines of the intent of the group, and still allow people to contact you if they want to be part of it. So if they have specific rules against self-promotion, you want to make sure that you're providing for the group as a whole. Yeah. Second thing is contact the group admins and say, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I'd love to share with the group. How can I best help serve your group and, get people towards this that I think will be great for them? And a lot of times the group admins will do things like this where, hey, that sounds awesome. Let's get you on a Facebook Live, or yes, you can post that, or no, you can't. If people ask me, I got questions all the time on what's allowed in our group, because we don't allow self-promotion. And I'll let them know similar things. Like if you're providing for the group and you're allowing people to reach out to you for more details, there's still a fine line there. But so that's what I would do, is I would make sure that whatever you're doing provides value to the group, and then allows people to contact you to find out more information.
Yeah, I totally agree. Value is key. And I think that's part of even like when someone's on your book launch and you're looking to add value, you're looking to help them have a better life or whatever it is in your book. So sharing those nuggets of how you can add value to people is a win-win. Absolutely.
Okay, last couple of questions. Hank says, do you put reviews in the front of the book? I'm seeing lots of books with that. I personally don't. The goal of the reviews for me are to get people to the book. Mm-hmm. But I know some people, if you're picking it up in the bookstore, that might help. But do you put them in yours?
I did not, no, because you read them in people's books. So I usually do what I like, and use the template that's Self-Publishing School gives you, follow that. And then how do you approach a book? I know how I approach a book. I know how I read it. So I write as I read and as I speak. And I think that that's important. Do you? And I think that's really important to follow.
All right. Last couple questions, trying to keep on the focus of getting those reviews. And Drew's got a good question, is how did you keep yourself on track with those communications to your launch team? I also have ADD and feel scattered at times.
Yeah, sure. You will feel scattered. And I think that it's just keeping, knowing that every day that I was texting people was a huge part. Like in the morning when I got up, I looked to see how many people I had for reviews, who I had contact, and I literally would toggle through my phone. I did that so much because I was away. I was in California for that around those 2 weeks. And I was committed to be incredibly social. And I think even though you're tired and you're nervous and everything else, commit to be out there. Let people hear from you and be part of your excitement. And I think that's the system that worked for me, that I knew every morning I was committed to reaching out. That worked very, very well for me.
So a couple of things I just want to recap that I think were good takeaways from what Kate was saying. Number one is, don't be afraid to contact people. Like, get yourself out there, contact them, not once, not twice, 3 times is the way you said, but even the more you get in contact and let them know, like, hey, this means something to me and I want you to be part of it. And how can I make this so that it's a win-win for both of us? I think that was a really important point. And then the second thing is the positive frame of mind, or the frame of mind that you approach it. Because a lot of times launch is stressful on us. A lot of times it's the end of this big, project, and we're kind of like, oh man, I just want this to be done, or we're just stressed out by all the little things we do. And if that carries over into the people you're trying to get to join this fun, great movement, or this movement to get the book out, it makes it more difficult for everybody to be a part of that. So really what Kate was saying is be committed to being that your presence, whatever that is, if that's, energetic, if that's, coming to if it's sarcastic, whatever that is for you,
right,
being committed to being that.
Love that. That's so great. So true. And have fun. Like, it's supposed to be fun. Like, life is pretty heavy, and so it's like, you're doing this for a reason. There's something behind it. Do you know why? Are you super clear to what your why is? And are you living that? And I think that anytime you're feeling frustrated or challenged, you're not living in the why. And stay committed to that. I'm here for you to cheer you on or give you a boot in the butt if you need it. And I know Sean is too.
Yeah, we're here for you guys. And a couple of tools that I think were helpful. I know everybody comes to like looking, what tools can I use? Just know that Messenger is a great way to have personal interactions. Texting. So don't think everything has to be super high tech. You can text, you can call people if you want to, you can write them, like all these things that we have to have an email sequence set up with ConvertKit. Yes, those things can help, but however you can reach out personally to people to get one-on-one.
Sean, right? Like that 2 weeks before, wherever you are, talk about it. Because people know you're working on, like I'm in yoga class, or I'm, at the supermarket. Oh my gosh, I have a book launch. Everywhere I went, I just was like, oh, like I raised the frequency, even though I wasn't super psyched. I was like, oh my God, but I have to be. So wherever you go, wherever you are, and people are like, oh, they just are so impressed. Trust me, people around you are just watching with shock and awe at your work. And I am too. For you.
All right. Last comment. I'm just going to read this from Brenda. She said, this is good encouragement. Thank you. I've reached out to my whole launch team of 114 people, which is really strong, but I haven't heard back from several. I have 33 reviews so far. Just launched the end of January, which I believe is very strong and provides a significant amount of social proof at that level. But while I've been listening to this interview, I've been copying and pasting, messaging launch team people I haven't heard from in a while. So awesome.
There you go. Awesome.
All right, great. So thank you guys for joining. Again, if you have questions, if you're watching this on replay or have questions, feel free to tag me. Kate's in the group too. She's a wonderful voice. If you guys see her, support her. So last thing, we have Claim Your Inner Badass, that link I put up earlier. And what is you said you got one coming out soon.
Yeah, so I have 2 books that are coming out. I'm launching Living Sexy Fit at Any Age. I was a bikini competitor from the age of 43 to 55. So people always want to know, like, how do you look and do what you do? And I said, well, I'm old, but I still love to be strong and be fit. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. And I'm also writing a book, Claim Your Inner Warrior, geared towards men. I'm writing one chapter now called Men, Machismo, and Self-Care. So I'm really excited about that. A lot of my followers are men because I have 5 brothers. I lost a boy. So I'm really committed to men's self-care and celebrating men for who they are and how they show up in the world. In addition, my last book that's going to be coming out later, probably in early summer, is The Transformative Power of Grief, and how we can transmute grief for a greater self-realization and healing.
So if you guys want to be a part of her launch teams and learn how to do it and just see these things in action, pay attention, connect with Kate, like message her and say, I'd like to be a part of it. Like just connect so that you guys can see how this is done as she launches those books, and you guys can take notes. I do this all the time with authors who I think are doing wonderful things. Those that just did these great, Amanda and who else was Anita Ullman, who just had these great parties. I'm taking notes on this. Kate, who had this amazing launch, I'm taking notes. And I think you guys can do the same, and you can help those people who help you by participating and giving back to them as well.
Woohoo! Thank you,
guys.
Sean, and thank you, everybody, and keep leaning in. You guys are all doing awesome.
All right, take care, guys, and I'll see you tonight on the live group coaching. If you have questions, feel free to bring them there.
Ciao.